What's up, everyone? Welcome to the April 7th edition of DraftKings Tournament Plays presented by Prize Picks. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. And as a reminder, you get one free month of Awesemo plus Platinum when you sign up and make a deposit at Prize Picks. Be sure to use the code Awesemo to receive a 100% first deposit bonus up to $100. Today, we have a 7-game NBA slate winding down the season, only a few days left. Not a ton of injury news that we're waiting on right now. We've actually gotten a lot of it throughout the day. There's not as many teams tanking today as we've had on recent slates either, but still be sure to tune into the deeper dive and live before lock in the 2 hours up until tip. For now, we're going to take a look at 5 of the top tournament options on DraftKings using the Boom Bust tool on Awesemo.com. Starting at number 5, Klay Thompson comes in at $7,800. He's taking on the Los Angeles Lakers, which we know is a really, really good matchup. The Lakers also are not playing any of their stars, if you want to even call them that at this point. No Westbrook, no Davis, no LeBron. They don't play defense anyway, but now they'll probably play even less defense. Klay Thompson has sort of taken a backseat to Jordan Poole from a fantasy standpoint with Steph Curry out, but as a result, you're not getting a whole lot of ownership going to Thompson, and he's still someone that's capable of just lighting it up in any given game. Right now, projected for only 7% ownership with a 16% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Number 4, Joel Embiid, $12,000 price tag, center only, projected for 16% ownership with a 17% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Once again, we have Embiid and Jokic on the same slate. Jokic is likely to pull quite a bit more ownership, and he probably should, given that he projects a bit better. But Embiid has averaged nearly 36 minutes per game in the games that he's played with James Harden. He's averaged about 1.7 DraftKings points per minute. Philadelphia is competing for the 2 seed in the East. I don't know how much they really care about getting it, but there's no reason to think that Embiid's going to have limited minutes here, and he's obviously a very, very high upside option. Number 3, Will Barton, $5,800 price tag, shooting guard only, projected for 11% ownership with a 17% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Barton is someone that we have largely ignored for a lot of this season because he was typically playing around 30 minutes. And when you're sharing the floor with Nikola Jokic, there's only so much you can do. But we have seen Denver tighten up their rotations a bit. We've seen Jokic playing 36 plus minutes, including 40 in 2 of his last 3. But we've also seen Will Barton more frequently getting to like the 34 to 36-minute range as opposed to 29 to 31. So he just looks a little bit better here. Still a relatively inexpensive price tag at $5,800. Number 2, Jose Alvarado, $3,700, point guard eligible, projected for 13% ownership with a 19% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Jonas Valanciunas is expected back for New Orleans, but they are likely to be without Brandon Ingram. As a result, you could certainly see increased playing time for Alvarado. I don't expect him to start. I don't expect him to play a ton of minutes here, at least if the game goes according to script, but there are a lot of minutes available with Ingram typically playing 35 or 36 minutes. And I do think it's likely that you see Alvarado go from 14 or 15 minutes to somewhere in the low 20s. And he has averaged about a fantasy point per minute this season. So he's a little bit underpriced for what I expect his role to be. Number 1, Mo Wagner, $4,600 price tag. The Magic are taking on the Charlotte Hornets. It should be a pretty appealing fantasy game, a lot of fantasy points to go around. Orlando is once again playing without Franz Wagner. They're playing without Cole Anthony. They're playing without Wendell Carter Jr. So there should be minutes available once again for Mo Wagner. He's over a fantasy point per minute producer, and he's still pretty inexpensive at $4,600. He's projected for 25% ownership with a 31% chance of being in the optimal lineup. So to recap, the top 5 tournament options on DraftKings: number 5, Klay Thompson; number 4, Joel Embiid; number 3, Will Barton; number 2, Jose Alvarado; and number 1, Mo Wagner.